Yo, what up? This is D Knight, and you're listening to the Pardon the Interaction podcast. My oh my, we've had so much going on. For starters, in case you missed it, we've got a new addition to the Pardon Pie family, Tara Dublin. Make sure you go follow her on Twitter at Tara Dublin Rocks. Also, pick up a copy of her book while you're at it. Make her day, The Sound of Settling. A very fun and interesting read compared to the things we talk about on this podcast. But yeah, we're heading toward the do or die time for the 2024 election. Go ahead and hit up JoeBiden.com. Get that man like $1 a month or something. Help his campaign staff up and get prepared to try and save our democracy. And make sure to grab like one other person you know and tell them about the podcast. Make sure they subscribe and tune in every single week. We got a lot of things coming up for you this year. We need all the support that we can get. So if you do your part and help us grow our audience, we'll do our part and help elect Joe Biden in 2024 and save American democracy. And this is the Pardon the Interaction podcast.
I'm sorry, did that end with bring some goats in?
Bring some cokes.
The soda.
No.
Not goats.
Oh. Okay.
However, I would not be shocked if he asked for goats. Like, nothing surprises me.
Yeah, this not that kind of tape, Ty.
I thought maybe he would just want to watch them climb and be like, look at how much this goat, he's climbing to the top. He's pushing the other goats over. He reminds me of a young me.
I know you said you used to work in the porn industry, but this is not that kind of tape. So, yeah.
I didn't watch goat porn. Thankfully.
You never know. I never know.
I was never thinking of goat porn.
Really?
When he said bring in some goats. It's really hard for me to picture him having like sexual desire at all, apart from like demoralizing humans.
I mean, I can clearly picture him having sexual desire for his daughter. We've seen him that a number of times.
Yeah, you're right. He is.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, this is D Knight.
This is Carol. This is Ty.
You're listening to the Pardon the Interaction podcast, where we normally would be talking about pardoning insurrections here in America, but apparently there was a coup in Russia and that didn't go so well. So it's entirely possible someone over there could be getting a pardon too. We're not entirely certain what the stakes of that situation were as it unfolded and ended in less than 24 hours. But apparently a Russian warlord, Viktor Prigozhin, who's affectionately referred to as Putin's chef, made his way up in the catering game by cooking up them hot dogs and took it all the way to international warlord status, homie. He was rolling towards Moscow with his homies with some tanks, took out some choppers, and then he got 100 miles away and he was like, actually, on second thought, I'm gonna take it back to the crib. We don't know what the fuck this situation is with that. Everyone's looking forward to the inevitable downfall of Putin, but I guess it won't be happening anytime soon, or at least not anytime in the immediate future. My theory on that, I guess, is he was headed towards Moscow and Putin had his cronies round up everybody in the Wagner's group family, had them in the tub with a chainsaw like Scarface, sending them videos, and Prigozhin was like, all right, you got me. Anyway, apart from that, before we get into the news of the week, a word from our sponsor, Colin from Sheets and Giggles. He's an incredible individual. He's one of those rare left-leaning entrepreneurs, focuses on sustainability while also offering exceptional high-quality products like wonderful sheets that he sent to me and my cohorts here on the podcast. Pick you up a set. They're incredibly comfortable. There's no need for you to be miserable at night. Don't be Donald Trump, because I'm sure he's miserable every single fucking night, especially given that, guess what? Lordy, there are tapes. Kids, before you jump in, let me just go ahead and play this tape for everybody, because I feel like once we play the tape and they hear this, they're like, well, we could just never talk about the documents case again. It's a wrap. Play.
These are bad, sick people.
That was your coup, against you.
It started right at the beginning.
When Millie's talking about, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to do that before you even were sworn in. That's right. Trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Millie, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him.
Wow.
We looked at him. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Mm-hmm. Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. But look at this. You attack, and
Hillary would print that out all the time, you know.
she'd send it, no, she'd send it to Anthony Weiner, the pervert.
Please print.
By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I was just saying, because we were talking about it. And, you know, he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably, right?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
Declassified.
figure out
See, as president, I could have declassified.
Yeah.
Now I can't, you know, but this is
classified. Now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I mean, it's so, here and I have, and you probably almost didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
it's incredible, right?
No,
hey, bring some Cokes in, please.
And no, that was not bring some goats in at the end.
Everyone heard goats like a normal person. We all.
No, he's not suggesting they engage in some bestiality. He was asking for Cokes. Cokes, not Coke the drug.
Go there. First of all, for context, the last time we listened to it, I thought they said goats. And you know, sometimes after a long, stressful day of doing espionage, I like to see some fluffy farm animals frolicking and trying to climb higher than the other one. It reminds me of my scheming.
I mean, is this like that dude in Penn who was trying to blow off some steam with his dog, except goats? Because I don't.
No, stop! There's nothing about bestiality in my version of the story. You just keep perverting it.
Okay, Ty, give me your thoughts on the tape real quick. Go, just lay it out. Okay, for those of you who are listening, Ty's on mute. We're clearly boomers here.
Okay, sorry. So, no, but the girl who was interviewing him, or the woman who was interviewing him,
yeah,
she did a good job of stroking his ego.
Oh, I thought you were going to go somewhere. She was like, getting ready for the goat.
They've been doing that to you forever, haven't they? And then he just, he can't help himself because his narcissism, his ego is so strong that he just, he couldn't help himself. And she let him
fast on tape was crazy. Yeah, she like let him down.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, yeah, I'm just. Yeah, she laid out the road for him and took it. Yeah, I feel like prosecutors are gonna play that fucking tape at the trial, and then they're gonna like show a display of all the fucking documents he had, and then Jack Smith's gonna be like, I rest my case.
I heard somebody had a wire too.
I don't know. That's the rumor mill. I don't usually do the that reckless of the speculation on the podcast, but if you want to.
I know, because it took a while to have the audio, because before it was just the transcripts of this part of the, tape. It was like, so I don't know, maybe they had to vet and get permission or whatever to,
I don't know. I feel like some witnesses dropped that off to the press and was like, here you go, kids. That, or it was some incredibly convoluted scheme by President Biden to like sink a sub full of millionaires or / billionaire, while also staging a coup in Russia, while also ending the coup in Russia in less than 24 hours, while also dropping this tape of Donald Trump confessing the crimes, all to distract from Hunter Biden.
Well, he is a criminal mastermind, apparently.
I thought he had dementia, Ty. That's what they've been telling me over there in the right-wing circles.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
This man, this has been a crazy week. And Christopher is obsessed with the attempted Wagner coup. He just...
It's wild. Have you ever seen any shit like that? Because like the one in Turkey was like military organized, but like they failed because they didn't get enough of a head start. Like too many people knew it was coming, and they caught them back
It's
in the
just crazy how they literally got right up to Moscow. And there's this Russian place in Juarez called Moscow. So we've been wanting.
Man, you was hanging out with the
wanting to
Ruskies.
try that out because like if we passed them, we were driving to go. That's where it is, Moscow. But we wanted to kind of check that out. But yeah, Christopher's he's just like, what? And Lukashenko, like, yeah, Chris is obsessed with
Yeah, the Lukashenko is the one that brokered the deal between Putin and Prigozhin is also fucking the same, but also we don't have enough time. Like this is a whole 14-part podcast about the fucking coup that never was in Russia. We don't have time for that. We got to move on. But
we're just going to become a live news channel and we just can't leave our things.
Just 24-hour news.
I'm so tired, guys. Please stop making news.
Yeah, we'll sleep in shifts. Yeah, look, but again, no, that tape's pretty fucking damning. Like, just hearing his voice, look, Nixon never had anything as fucking damning as this, and you saw what happened to his ass. Yeah, so it's a wrap.
Look at this. Look, like he's like a kid that he discovered some treasure in the basement or something.
Yeah. All because he wanted to shine off on General Milley because Milley was going around telling everybody that he's the one who stopped Trump from going to war with Iran. So, I mean, just insane. It's rap. The only thing that can fuck up the documents case now is the judge, and she's already probably starting off on the wrong foot. And if she makes too many mistakes, I'm sure Jack Smith's team will appeal to the 11th Circuit and get her up out the fucking paint. All right, on to other damning Trump information. So apparently, Jack Smith's teams also had a number of fake electors from the fake elector plot to overturn the 2020 election testified to the grand jury. Specifically, recently here, he's granted immunity to 2 of the fake electors and had them testify in Washington. All right. So these individuals were granted limited immunity, indicating concerted effort by federal prosecutors to gather evidence swiftly in the ongoing investigation into the attempts to overturn the 2020 election. The testimony from these fake electors suggests that prosecutors may be nearing charging decisions related to this aspect of the investigation. Before we get, normally I would say this for the end, but I'll give it to you up front. I think indictments are coming soon, like weeks. We're weeks away. And we'll get to why I think that in just a minute. Notably, the filing of charges against former President Donald Trump for his handling of classified documents coincided with this activity. So literally the day Trump was arraigned, Jack Smith was getting fucking testimony from these fake electors in DC. The boy does not play around.
Locking in witness statements, the compelled testimony of fake electors has allowed the special counsel's office to secure witness statements and potentially gather information that previous investigators may not have been able to obtain. Additionally, at least one other witness has provided information outside the grand jury setting under an agreement protecting them from potential prosecution. Over the past 2 weeks, multiple witnesses, including half a dozen individuals, have testified before the federal grand jury in Washington. These sessions have primarily focused on the orchestrated plot involving fake electors, facilitated by attorneys who assisted the Trump campaign during the 2020 election. The increasing number of witnesses, their profiles, and the tactics employed by prosecutors suggest an acceleration in the pace of the probe.
And I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that the electors themselves apparently are not the target, but they are going to be witnesses. And I think what Smith is doing is aiming to get as much of an idea what the grand plan here was and who orchestrated it. But he's specifically looking at Trump's lawyers, but we'll get to that.
An interest in former Trump legal team. The special counsel's office has recently shown interest in several members of Trump's post-election legal team who are actively promoting baseless claims of widespread voter fraud. None of us could have guessed. This includes Rudy Giuliani, and Sidney Powell, former lawyers for Trump, as well as Jeffrey Clark, a former Justice Department appointee who supported Trump's efforts to use the Department of Justice to overturn the election results.
Jeffrey Clark was the one.
The environmental lawyer, no?
Yeah, he was the one that was like, we'll call you when there's an oil spill. Wait, I can't. John Eastman, was he the one who was? No, that was Jeffrey Clark standing outside in his drawers, wasn't it? When the FBI raided his house.
Yeah, in his nightgown.
Yes, that was Clark. I forgot. Well, I remember it now because it was very strange that it was the DOJ's Inspector General's office that had the feds out there raiding his house. But that's another story for another day.
So Giuliani played a significant role in overseeing the fake electors plot across 7 battleground states as part of the broader attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election results.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Kat. This is not a convenient place for you to sit. I can no longer read my notes.
We can make it a 4-person podcast. Hello, Kitty.
Well, he's not reading, so...
Don't you want to look at the...
Prosecutors have also focused...
This is a totally different version of the cat lawyer that we've got going on here.
If I could read it with him in the way. Okay. My cat just doesn't want me to read the thing. He's put himself in the way of the screen. For those of you who can't see, which is everybody but Ty and D.
That's okay. I'm having a wonderful time distracted by looking at your cat just deciding to totally block whatever it is the fuck you were doing. He don't care. He just chilling in front of the screen.
What's he looking at? Oh, Luna. Prosecutors have also focused on potential financial crimes and money laundering, as Trump raised millions of dollars based on false claims that the election was stolen, and having the dumbest base in the history of bases.
And the dumbest voice, because he talks like this, as you heard on the tape.
Witnesses have been questioned about specific campaign ads and
bring some cokes.
Bring some goats.
Bring some goats.
Messaging related to these fundraising activities.
Yeah, we're going to get to that too shortly.
Dude, I'm going to go back because you just keep saying shit.
I'm sorry.
Witnesses have been questioned about specific campaign ads and messaging related to those fundraising activities. Multiple witnesses involved in the 2020 election are scheduled to testify before the grand jury in the coming days. As of this week, Trump has changed the terms of his 2024 presidential campaign fundraising to divert 10% of the donations going toward his personal legal defenses. Oh, fun for him. It's unclear whether such arrangement is legal and could come under criminal investigation itself.
Yeah, if Trump is doing it, I'm going with no.
Yeah, he always resorts to the most illegal possible course of action with anything. Yeah, so there's a lot going on there. We're going to get to some of the claims of election fraud and the fundraising later. But one incredible thing here is just this thing where he's like, he's supposedly this wealthy fucking billionaire, and he's trying to raise all this money from these poor people. And then he's taking that and using the money for his legal defense fund, which is incredible because he's going to end up spending more money on his legal defense than he spends on his 2024 campaign. Okay. Fake electors in Nevada. Republican individuals involved in the fake elector scheme claimed that Trump had won in 7 battleground states where he actually lost, and signed documents asserting that they were the rightful electors. 2 Nevada Trump electors, Michael McDonald, the state's Republican Party chairman, and Jim DeGaffin, I don't even know how to say his fucking name. DeGaffin-Fried? I don't know. DeGraffin Reed. Let's try that one more time. And Jim DeGraffin-Reed, another Nevada GOP official. I should have tried to pronounce it out when I was typing it. That probably would have been a good idea. Anyway, were granted limited immunity and testified before the grand jury. Additionally,
how about DeGraffin-Reed?
How about Jim to fuck that guy? Additionally, other witnesses such as Gary Michael Brown, a 2020 Trump campaign election day operations official, provided insight into the fake elector scheme. He's going to come up later. Again, just bear with me. This is a lot. There's a lot going on here. These witnesses shed light on the actions of Nevada's former GOP Attorney General, Adam Laxalt, and Jesse Banal, a lawyer who worked for the Trump campaign in Nevada. The special counsel's investigation also involves subpoenas to county election commissions and state officials in battleground states requesting documents related to communications between Trump's campaign and various allies. Clark County in Nevada, among others, produced documents showing communications between Trump's campaign representatives and election workers, refuting claims of election fraud and debunking rumors regarding ballot tabulation software. So all those fucking claims Trump was making post-election, late 2020. Yeah. Huh? What'd I say?
Software.
Oh, ballot tabulation hardware. I'm sorry.
I may not know much, but I know the difference between hardware and software.
Yes, Carol, we know you like it hard. So,
where?
Smith is putting Smith is gathering up information from all the individuals on the ground in these states that disprove Trump's broader election fraud claims, but also setting up a case to get him and his team orchestrating the fake electors plot in these states, where he was using these fraud claims to try and pressure individuals to help him overturn the 2020 election. 2 other Nevada fake electors who testified recently spoke to the grand jury about the actions of Nevada's former GOP Attorney General Adam Laxalt and Jesse Banal, the lawyer who worked for the Trump campaign in Nevada. Laxalt and Banal both appeared at a press conference in November 2020, boasting of a lawsuit challenging the presidential election results and spreading claims of election fraud. They actually fucking lost this, but, quote, Donald Trump won the state of Nevada after you account for the fraud and irregularities that occurred in the election, said Banal, who was one of the lawyers who brought a failed lawsuit on behalf of the GOP electors in Nevada. So, as you can see, there was a similar scheme in Georgia, where we have Trump on tape trying to pressure Raffensperger to find some votes. And when that didn't work, he tried a fake elector plot there. Same thing in Nevada. We don't get into this in here, but similar thing in Michigan, Wisconsin, all the wonderful swing states that Trump needed to try and overcome Biden in 2020, which he failed to do. Tom, I'll let you take the next one.
Justice Department asking about 2020 fraud claims as well as fake electors. So, role of Trump's lawyers. The investigation is focusing on the involvement of Trump's lawyers in the fake elector plot and their adherence to specific instructions from Trump or others. Rudy Giuliani, who took over Trump's campaign's legal efforts, coordinated the fake elector effort.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of information in this about this, but read the fucking January 6th report. There's plenty in there. Also, one more important thing before we get to the rest of this. You have to go back and remember that it was 2021 when Rudy Giuliani had his fucking phone seized. Once Lisa Monaco was, confirmed.
And then everyone's like, they're not doing anything with it. Like, yeah, I'm sure that's what's happening.
Well, they spent a lot of time trying to work through attorney-client privilege concerns and whatnot to get to the information they needed to continue this investigation. But yes, they have his phone and his communications, and also an assistant of his who was working for him that has recently sued him for some egregious sexual improprieties in his employ, turned over a number of emails to investigators recently, so that might help actually create some sort of workaround for some of the information that might have been attorney-client privilege otherwise. Anyway, sorry, continue, Ty. This important is going to come up.
Jenna Ellis urged state legislatures to reject certified Biden results. John Eastman argued that Vice President Mike Pence could accept alternate slates during the certification of electoral votes. Kurt Olson pushed for lawsuits to overturn election results, and Kenneth Chesbrough wrote memos on the fake elector strategy.
Yeah, and these are people who all know, they all in private know Trump lost, but in public they're going around, oh, it was massive fraud, Trump won. Anyway, sorry.
I've been calling him Cheese Bro.
Yeah, that's the way I like to refer to him as well.
But I like him less as Kenneth Chesbrough. So that's
it
good.
doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
Jeffrey Clark, a former Justice Department lawyer, pressed Trump's fraud claims from within the department. Investigators seek to determine the extent to which these lawyers were following instructions and what those instructions were.
And whether they knew those instructions were illegal.
Well, Jeffrey Clark's role, he intended to try and weasel his way into becoming the Attorney General of the United States.
Yeah, he really tried it.
Yeah, on the backs of announcing that there was massive voter fraud in the 2020 election and the Department of Justice was going to investigate. And this would make it seem as though DOJ was launching an independent investigation, which would give Trump the ammunition to go out and force all these other states to throw out Biden electors and send Trump electors to be certified on January 6th. So look, Jack Smith's attacking this from all angles. But again, because this is a greater plot organized by a handful of people, or at least a handful of people at the top who were given the orders, namely Giuliani and his legal cronies. I mean, it doesn't go understated how important it was that the Department of Justice got access to Giuliani's phone as early as it did. Cause I mean, people keep complaining about, oh, what's Garland waiting for? Well, if they had waited, a year before they had more solid evidence to go after Giuliani, I mean, they'd be still dealing with legal battles trying to get access to the information in his phone as we speak. So I'm glad they went about that early. They can start connecting the dots.
They held out for much better information. False claims in fundraising ads. Prosecutors have extensively examined ads and email pitches that raise funds based on Trump's false claims of election fraud. Oh no. Consequences. The investigation aims to determine if individuals knowingly used false information to raise funds, which could constitute wire fraud. Lawyers for Trump's campaign expressed concerns about the ads containing false information and not meeting the network standards. Huh. I didn't hear. Well, I guess to him. Express them to whom?
Okay, so
quietly.
We're gonna get to one of the emails in specifics in just a second.
Okay, so in the weeks after the election, an advertising firm created 3 ominously named spots for Trump's fundraising efforts: overwhelming, stop the steal, and on tape. But when lawyers for the campaign reviewed the advertisement, they raised concerns that the spots contained false information and might not meet the network standards. What network has standards? What are you talking about?
Well, clearly not Fox News.
That was a thing 3 years ago. There were still standards and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Evidence suggests that some Trump advisors privately didn't believe or were skeptical of voter fraud claims despite publicly promoting them.
It's a common theme.
Common theme
here.
The investigation had issued subpoenas seeking information on the formulation, payment, and awareness of false claims in the fundraising ads. The campaign was facing a repeated problem. Trump advisor Jason Miller wrote to Larry Weitzner, an executive at the firm producing campaign ads for Trump. Oh, I see. That's what the campaign was facing repeated problems. Yes, that's okay.
Yeah, these are the problems they were.
I definitely read this in advance. The campaign's own legal team and data experts cannot verify the bullshit being beamed down from the mothership.
It's incredible that they put that in email, just in case maybe you won't want to call.
And the emphasis was mine.
Yeah.
He wrote,
you did a good job.
Thank you. According to 4 people familiar with the email, CC, BCC, we'll never know.
Yes, exactly.
Until we see the emails.
That's the thing, Carol. They were sending the evidence to everyone, and they were CCing everyone to make sure the evidence could not be deleted. Yes.
Yeah. That was why Giuliani and his lawyers were 0 for 32, Miller added, an apparent reference to the number of times Trump's legal team had challenged the election results in court and lost.
Oh.
Miller sounds proud.
Yeah, we're seeing the recurring theme here, right?
He's a proud boy.
Well, everyone from Trump's campaign to his legal team to the Department of Justice to state and local GOP officials, literally every fucking one knows Trump lost. So there's this thing where Trump keeps continuing to claim that he won 2020. And so therefore he somehow absolved from any wrongdoing. Just clearly not going to hold up because they're going to have a bunch of motherfuckers testify about how they knew all this shit was bullshit. But apart from that, more importantly, all the money that Trump raised on these fraudulent claims of fraud. This is ironic.
Fraud.
Let's say DOJ files
President
charges.
fraud.
Yeah, DOJ charges Trump's campaign and his PACs with wire fraud or whatever, which we'll get to shortly here. And they get to seize all that fucking money. Well, what the fuck is Trump going to run for president on with no bucks? And if he somehow manages to not be the nominee, if this takes him out before the Republican primary, he's consumed a massive amount of donations from small donors. I don't know. They might be all tapped out if there's another candidate. Apart from that, let's say he also manages to get taken out by these investigations before he wraps up the nomination. What if he's fucking pissed? It's like, the last thing I will have is another Republican become president, and it's not me. And he just tells his donors, don't donate any money. They're going to get their asses kicked in a landslide. All right, focusing on the campaign officials' knowledge. So prosecutors are focused on what campaign officials knew in the weeks after the election and have compared their private comments to their public statements, which, again, we were talking about that earlier. They're not going to be very in line. They were saying one thing in private and saying something totally different in public. Trump's campaign received, much like Trump's tape, right? The tape of him waving classified documents in front of fucking morons where he missed it. Anyway, Trump's campaign received reports from research firms showing that the fraud claims were false or unproven. So this is another thing we hadn't got a chance to talk about on the podcast here lately. In the weeks after the 2020 election, Trump's campaign hired a couple of outside firms to investigate Trump's fraudulent election claims, or claims of voter fraud, rather, across the nation. And they came back snake eyes. It was like, bro, we ain't got none. Well, then they were like, hey, let's go try this other firm. And they was like, bro, we ain't got none either. Yeah, anyway, this is just fucking wild.
Sorry, I went to find some cheese, but I'm not sure about this cheese, so I'm not going to eat it.
Oh, are you scared of
Is
the
it a
cheese?
soft cheese or a hard cheese?
Medium hard.
Eat your cheese, bro.
Sorry, we got lightning.
Oh. Because they
Cheese,
can...
bro. Cheese, bro. Cheese, bro.
If it's a hard cheese, you can just slice off. Like any molds or whatever.
I just don't know if it was in there before or after one of my kids turned the thing all the way down. It looks totally fine.
The temperature?
Yeah.
Carol, you have important things to do this week. I suggest that you not.
Yeah, I'm not going to eat the cheese.
Yeah,
I have to go. I have to pack, and I'm going to a concert tomorrow in the city. I got to be on top of my shit.
Yeah, we don't need, like, you're already going to be, it's like a 50-50 chance that you'll be at the concert puking. Let's not, like, increase the odds, correct?
Why would I be puking? Whatever.
I don't know. Concert, don't people get, like, hammered?
No. I mean, I'm going to be sitting at, like, in a chair,
Is it outside, like in a pavilion kind of?
No, it's in a theater.
Not this kind of concert. Good. We don't go to the same kinds of concerts, apparently.
Well,
I think it's like a regular theater. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, sounds very
very
Sparks. Sparks.
Never heard of it.
Anyway, back to this important fucking investigation that's about to take Trump down in weeks. Again, quote me on that. You heard it here first.
I hope it's weeks.
When Trump gets indicted for, at least Trump and a number of individuals get indicted for the fake elected plot. Part of the insurrection was like, oh man, we see it coming. It's around the corner. The investigation is examining whether individuals who disagree with the claims were co-opted into fundraising efforts, as in they were forced to continue to spread these lies in order for Trump to raise money. Again, Penis asked for documents related to the use of Vice President Mike Pence's name in fundraising and any objections or withdrawals from being a surrogate in fundraising emails. Trump's inner circle reportedly expressed disbelief in the claims of extensive voter fraud, as well as Mike Pence's team. What was real crazy is Mike Pence was like, Bro, I don't know about you spreading all these lies, but he didn't tell him no, he couldn't use his name on these fundraising emails. So everyone's been giving Mike Pence a pat on the back for like cooperating with investigators. But I mean, we totally forget that like Pence was clearly aware of this fucking scheme at the time and he didn't tell nobody shit. But also he's like letting Trump put his fucking name on these fucking, campaign fundraising emails and shit, trying to rake up money, all these fucking lies, even though Pence knew. I hope they get Pence's ass too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hope so. Man, just like standing by and like acting affront, like that this whole ugliness is an affront to you, but really you enjoy all of the results of that ugliness, you know, like fuck you. You also go to jail, pretty boy.
I know it's not going to happen. I mean, I assume that if Pence was going to get arrested or even was a target of the investigation, they would have sent him a letter and he wouldn't have announced his campaign. But again, look, I guess anything's possible. I mean, DOJ could be like, man, you fuck, just too many shenanigans surrounding this guy.
I mean, they might just feel like they could take care of him later. Like, what's the urgency to, it's not like he's a co-conspirator. He's just like I don't know what they would charge him with. Like, I don't know.
I imagine.
Did he have a duty to report that? Is he in the chain of command? I guess he probably has a duty to report.
Well, I imagine they could get, so of course on January 6th, he didn't take the fake electors in order to certify them in place of Biden's electors. But, what steps did he take before that? Cause they could certainly get him on conspiracy to defraud the United States, which I'm assuming will be one of the major charges henceforth in this plot. Anyway, sorry I don't have like cute novel names for these sections today.
So, am I muted? No. Okay.
No, you're all good. I'm sorry. Did we scare you from the last time you using it?
No, I was because I have it like I'm having to pull it up and then the Zoom I have to toggle like.
Oh yeah, the screens.
Yeah, and then when the boys they come in there, like I have to like put it on mute, like we're just saying like random stuff.
I can just edit them out. It's okay. You ain't got to hit the mute button.
Email correspondence and drafted statements. The investigation has reviewed email correspondence among Trump and Republican aides and advisors, including junior staffers and digital copywriters. Prosecutors have obtained evidence of widespread belief among members of Trump's circle. Oh, disbelief.
Yeah, it's very important too.
Inner circle about the claims of voter fraud. They have focused on discussions and statements, including press releases, drafts, and unreleased statements to examine the language and claims made regarding election fraud. The investigation has also questioned witnesses about emails and messages disputing claims made by Trump advisors who were not part of the campaign.
Whew.
When Trump wanted to release a press statement saying a single report of fraud was the tip of the iceberg, campaign advisors argued internally against using that language because they believed there was no evidence for such a claim. The claim went into the news release anyway, according to people familiar with the matter. Prosecutors have homed in on the phrase and the discussion of whether to use it with multiple witnesses.
Yeah. So again, Trump doubled down on all these fucking fake with false claims of election fraud to raise all this money. Clearly, Jack Smith is not only going after the documents and not only going after the fake electors, but he's also going after the money. And you know what's easier to prove than anything? Well, at least until we played that tape earlier. Wire fraud, kids.
Payment of legal bills and other matters. Prosecutors have inquired about Trump entities paying the legal bills for witnesses and whether any strings were attached to such payments.
Witness tampering. They're going after yet another fucking thing.
The investigation has shown an interest in and understanding. The investigation has shown an interest in understanding why certain aides
Carol, you really wanted that cheese, didn't you?
In the probe have their legal bills paid for by Trump entities.
You can try the cheese.
No, I'm not going to try the cheese.
Don't
Maybe
you have the
I'll
munchies?
leave in my next term and get some goldfish so I can go crunch, 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 crunch. Additionally, the investigation is examining whether Trump's efforts to convince Georgia officials to, quote, find more votes constitutes a crime. Sorry, that seems obvious, but I guess let's see.
Again,
Georgia's
we've had the tape. We're not going to play that one on here. It's fucking hour long, but you can just go check that one out. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry too. It's just more crazy shit in there.
It's just like Trump went. So I don't know if it was methodical or just throwing shit everywhere, but he and his advisors took every possible loophole and avenue for things that we didn't have previously codified in any formal way, just because like most people, even the worst, who we thought was the worst, had some decency or at least decorum. And that's just all gone. And there's just like, it's like, oh, well, we didn't think we had to tell you, like, don't spit on everyone's face constantly during the hearing, but like, you just didn't get that basic, like there's some shit that we thought was unspoken that needs to be spoken in the ethical realms of.
If there's a potential vulnerability in something, Trump will think of it and try to exploit it. And I'll give you a perfect example, right? So let's go back to, it's 2020. It's the week of the debate, the presidential debate, which turned out to be the only presidential debate between Trump and Biden. There were rigorous protocols and testing supposedly at the White House for COVID. Also, the venue at which was hosting the presidential debate had requirements for Trump and Biden to be tested, and as well as their entourage, right? And then Trump made a point to arrive in such a fashion, late in such a fashion as to, in order to make the debate on time, he would have to avoid the COVID testing. Well, it turns out he was fucking positive, and he had been railing about Biden wanting like them to be distanced on the stage and have up the fucking plexiglass plastic shielding, right? And just to take away from that is Trump is like, well, even if I can't win the 2020 election, I'm gonna try and take Biden out with this fucking biological warfare type shit. So, I mean, it's the same thing with this, right? He's like water, his criminality, like it will find every fucking crevice and crease and crack and hole and work its way through there. And that's what Trump does. But yeah, also side note here, Brad Raffensperger, and this is fairly important. Again, we've talked about this fucking recording before, but like you just go listen to that thing. He is supposedly going to be testifying to Jack Smith's investigators this Thursday. And if you know what's on that tape, and you know how high up the ladder Brad Raffensperger is, you know, if they're interviewing Raffensperger and getting his testimony, it's not because they needed to take other investigative steps. It's just to get his shit into the grand jury. So when they file the indictment, it's on paper. And this is what leads me to conclude that indictments are likely not only inevitable, but coming soon to a courtroom near you.